let us move on to the next team. Uh, if Dignitas are digging their way to the top, let's talk about a team that just grabbed the mountain and got a standing ovation for their performance. We're talking about none other than Cloud9.
Let's
In the top
go!
lane, we have the Fudge Factor. In the jungle, we have MVP Blabber. In the mid lane, we have no other than the man who kicked Jensen out himself, Dplex. In ADC, we have the one, the curly hair boy. We have the smile to kill them all, Berserker. And if this man ain't sitting on top of you with Yumi, he's carrying you with his devilish charm and his quick quips on the analyst desk. We have Sven at support.
Go. Hey, would you like to spot in the Cloud9 social media group? I know you have some allegiances elsewhere, but I'm the C9 fan and I'm hyped. Oh my god!
Look, I had to give my props to the boys. They are the defending champions. We saw them live in person. We were a part of that standing ovation to Blabber as they conquered. They conquered the summer split, and damn, did it look good.
Sweep.
Woo.
It looked beautiful. It somehow looked more gorgeous than Berserker's curls, Sven's Danish beauty, Blabber's smile. It's where do we even begin?
I think the main thing we could say is one, defending champions, and they only made a singular change for an ELR mid laner, Dplex coming from the Vitality B. Like, we all have heard the phrase, trust the process. Jack has rarely let us down before when it comes to his off-season decisions. Is this the decision that not only capsulates spring and split for them, but a good showing on an international event? As a C9 fan, a C9 diehard fan, how do you feel about the roster?
So continuity is obviously on display here. You are returning 4 out of 5 and moving from what some would call the weakest point of last year's roster in Jensen to an up-and-coming young European talent. Like you said, Jack has seldom proved us wrong with roster moves. I like to think that after the hellscape that was the spring split last year, and we continue to build off the positivity of the summer split, winning summer split playoffs for the first time in God knows how long, going to Worlds, having a show there, mixed results. I do truly believe that this team is going to contend for the top. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anyone looking at this roster. I don't think it's a surprise to say this team is going to be jockeying for international competitions. We obviously are going to keep coming back to that mid swap. However, there's another team in this region that could have had Jensen in the mid lane, but decided to go with a young up-and-comer, new to the scene talent. And if I recall right, it worked out for them. So, I do truly believe that this is going to work out beautifully for C9. I truly believe that Berserker is going to continue to build into one of the preeminent ADCs. He now has the opportunity to play against Doublelift so that we can really see with our eyes, all right, mother trucker, is this the second coming or not? We get to see how Fudge we forget Fudge is still relatively new on scene. We forget that he came in and then he quickly swapped over to mid and then he swapped back to the top. He is still developing and growing as a player. And in a split that's going to be very focused with all these names in the top lane, Fudge will hold his own. Blabber, Blabber Scrabber, stand up. Come on, come on. MVP, MVP. This man lives and dies for this team. And lastly, I brought up the Ashe earlier for a reason when I was talking about the supports. Go through this entire list of supports. Who has played the most Ashes? Who's played the most engaged supports? Gee, I think it's the former ADC Sven. Top easy. In a meta that's going to have Yuumi virtually permabanned, we are going to finally see Sven Unleashed. And I don't know about you, but Sven Unleashed is going to be something else.
I do have to admit, this roster and the meta just seems like it is in their favor. I will say though,
Oh, here it is.
Yuumi in the next patch did get gut
Well,
destroyed.
it's gonna go from permaban to not played, and so what? Man was already playing other champs. He'll just keep playing them.
Yeah.
God, I hope he doesn't really do engaged tanks though.
I think the only issue that anyone could probably have with this roster is just the question mark in the mid lane. We don't really know a lot about Duplex, and that and his synergy with Blabber is really what's going to make a big difference. Blabber's best showings is when he can synergize well with his mid lane. Can Duplex just take the sideways and play some Zillion while Blabber plays some Kindred and gets buffed up? While Blabber whips out the Hecarim, the Olaf? It's yet to be seen. But
the Olaf.
I do believe this team has the highest potential, and because you are the resident Cloud9 lover, I will allow you to tell me what their ranking is.
Your defending champion, Cloud9, S tier.
Bum, bum, bum. And I completely agree with that ranking. I think for this team that only replaced their mid lane, which potentially could be an upgrade, does have the greatest chance at winning the split and taking what I assume would be held by FlyQuest, the other spot for MSI. Don't be surprised if you see FlyQuest versus Cloud9 in the finals. But don't be surprised either if Team Liquid takes them both down and runs undefeated this split, just saying. No bias there though. That was just some side comments. I don't know where that came from. But
must have been some static.
If Cloud9 are our defending champions, who are guarding that mantle? Let's talk about the Golden Guardians. The Golden Guardians roster
still around.
In the top lane, we have the candy you probably haven't had in a while, Licorice. In the jungle, it's not River Shen, it's just River. In the mid lane, the star-studded mid lane, Gory over from PSG Talon. In the bot lane, we have reunited once again, Stixxay and Huhi. This isn't as hype of a roster as I made the intro to be. I think Gory's like kind of the one thing like kind of super excited about. I think Gory's a really fantastic player, but for me, this roster just kind of seems like it's holding on to like old ideals and hopes. I mean, Licorice hasn't looked like a top 5 top laner since when they get kicked off of Cloud9.
84 years.
uh Stixay, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but Stixay, you're still living in those golden days in 2015 and CLG where you got to beat TSM. I really need to see something from you, Stixay, most of all here to actually prove that this roster isn't just shooting for the trash. Huhi, which I might argue isn't a terrible pickup for the team, definitely had some major issues on 100 Thieves last split where he constantly was not properly building, getting caught out, just dying for no reason. Who he really felt like he was off his game with, which the lane duo that most people would say has been his best lane duo since he swapped to support. So, what does Golden Guardians have that can make them into an interesting team this split? I think it's going to be the synergy between River and Gory. I think this combo is going to be pretty damn interesting. I think we're going to get a lot of cool, interesting like plays between them that they may look to utilize to boost up Stixay and Huhi in that bot lane. Right now, the mid lane is not the lane where a lot of uh players are getting to play a lot of crazy, interesting stuff. In previous years, where mid lane was like that focal point, it's kind of taken a step back in the meta where it's not super strong, but it's also not super weak. It's just kind of there. Uh, Now we have in recent past few days seen some interesting picks such as Zach Mid showing up, but is Gory Caps? Is Gory Caps? I don't know. What are your opinions of this Golden Guardians roster?
So, my first impression when I saw that Gory was coming into this was I'm getting TSM Maple vibes again, in that they're bringing in a high profile Eastern mid laner as one last ditch effort to try and glue a team together. It didn't necessarily work out for TSM, so it remains to be seen for Golden Guardians. I like how you pointed out the relationship between Gory and River. I was initially a River truther last year, backed off on it. So we're kind of back at the square one with River. It's hard for me to say bad things about Who He, but we don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. Who He is about to be exposed so hard now he's no longer with FBI. Stixay is the last person that Who He needs to be next in lane. He is not going to shield him. He is not going to play up to his role. They are going to flounder. There's going to be so many games that that bottom lane is just going to implode by the third or fourth wave. And that being said, I don't see a world where Gory can 9v1 it. Not in this LCS split. Not with the league as a whole upping their game. We already know Licorice is. Ah, fuck it, I'll say he was a C9 player once. He's dead weight. He's dead weight. He needs a great supporting cast to even look fine. He hasn't had it since, C9, the C9 days. This org as a whole is interesting to me. They've
Eh,
been rebuilding for, sorry, they've been rebuilding for years and years now, to the point that, oh man, welcome back, Huey. How was your break? How was Under Thieves? Like, how was all that? Like, you
How was
guys had a great.
winning?
How was winning? How? Because gone are the days of, oh, Golden Guardians, just throw them with closer. Oh my God, they're great now. Those days are so long gone. We're going into year 3 of this prolonged rebuild, and while I don't want to wax doom upon an entire organization, there has to come to a point when these expansion teams, headlined by external franchises, really need to take a hard look at themselves. Is one import going to save us? No. There needs to be a top down approach to this. We need player development. And that's saying something. Golden Guardians Academy has also not been good the last few years. With that being said, I don't know, they're still not F for me.
Yeah. All that being said, they're definitely not an F team. We spoke about the soup earlier, and to have a soup, you need more components to the soup. So for me, I think I gotta throw in with CLG to be in the soup.
Soup.
Good fucking soup. Uh, actually, mid soup. It's mid. It's just
It's mid
mid.
soup.
It's
It's
just
just
mid.
mid.
It's fucking mid.
Yep. Just double checking. Yep. I would have just as you listed it right there, technically below CLG.
Yeah.
But the soup, the top layer of soup, that nice that skim of sauce, all the way down to the meat and potatoes. That soup is all of 2 games difference.
Oh yeah.
There's carrots, there's celery, there's cheese. All of that is just 2 games worth.
Ooh. We could keep ragging on them for who knows how long. They've done a lot for us to rag on them. But let's look at an organization that likes to call themselves immortal. Let's look at Immortals roster. In the top lane, we have Revenge. In the jungle, we have Kanavi. In the mid lane, we have Ablazolov, ADC, Tactical, and at support, God, I hate saying your name, Fleshy.
Yes, goddamn Europeans coming with these interesting names. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's. So, I'm not gonna play coy here. We have 3. This isn't the LEC. We have 3 teams left. I said that there was a team I thought was worse than TSM. If there's a team that's for the 3 teams left, it's gotta be Immortals. They are not immortal. Oh my God, what is this roster?
Well, let me tell you what the roster is. It's not good. There you go.
I don't see how any of these parts mesh together. Like, I almost feel bad for Kanavi. Like, I'm not saying he's like a top 5 jungler here, but I feel like he's better than to get the Immortals treatment and just live in this constant, oh, we're playing for the 9th and 10th spot in the LCS, which, if there was ever a time to bring relegations back, please, I think it's now. Franchise that has made these organizations soft. I remember back in the day, you could kick a team would have to fight for their chance to eat bread in the morning. No. on the terms of relegation, I do feel like players shouldn't have to feel like their org's poor decisions could end them up without a job. But that's kind of still what's happening in the long run. It's just happening slower in a sense. For me, revenge just tends to only look good on either when he's one tricking his Riven, which he's not even the best Riven player. Just saying, your brother's waiting to come up from the Salt League any day now. He'll take your spot, and hopefully not on Immortals. And then you, Ablaze. Ablaze. Whew, I have wanted you to be good so long. I spoke to your praise. Bjergsen spoke to your praise. And we're yet to constantly see some consistency from you. And I don't think that changes with this roster. I don't know what Ablaze needs to become more of a consistent player. I'm not a coach. I am not on site with these players. But what it's been ain't working. We need some star talent or something.
Your star talent is in the ADC role, though.
Can my star talent not cosplay Malphite every game on Tristana? Can my star talent not try to become the next Cody's son? Because I have an ERL team that Cody's probably done with playing with that could probably pick tactical up. Now, before this becomes a tactical hate fest, I do very much think that tactical is a very freaking good ADC. I just think he has consistency issues.
Yep, look, if there's someone that knows that, it's you, given your former allegiances, and me, because I always pick him in our fantasy leagues. This man will for every 160 points he'll give you one weekend, he'll give you -12 the next. He is the definition of hyphy. He's the definition of I go burr, therefore we all go burr. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. The 10th time, it looks like the coolest shit ever. And you think, damn, this guy's awesome.
Oh yeah,
and then you're like, and remember the 900 times, you're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't know if it's the shot calling or just the decision making, but this kid, man, this kid.
I think what tactical needs most is some more veteran leadership around him that has experience with winning. And right now,
I feel though,
this roster ain't got it. And
let's see if he was on TSM with a good jungler like a Spica and like I don't know like Bjergsen in the mid, and I don't know, maybe that'd be work. And then to top on that, I think an inexperienced young rookie coming from the European RLs is the last thing tactical needs. You need a core JJ to reel you in. This man is gonna like I said, he's gonna get like 1 or 2 pentas, I swear. And at the same time, he's gonna have one of the worst KDAs in the league overall.
I promise you, he will get a penta one game, and they will still somehow lose that game.
Oh yeah, that too.
There's too much inconsistency in this team. This bot lane feels like while Tactical's not a rookie, he still has the mindset and playstyle of a rookie. So it just feels like you paired up 2 rookies together and said, go at it. You're not really going to get much like leadership from the top side of your map either. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe Kanavi comes in this split and he puts the fucking chains on this bot lane, puts Ablaze into a focused mindset, and Revenge still runs it down, and they're still a 9th and 10th place team. I'm sorry, I do not see the angle where I could ever put this team any higher than F.
Agreed. Ablaze, please get out of the game and get into casting soon.
Yeah, you have strengths otherwhere. I mean, maybe you just need to curse him like you did Whippa.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll be on the desk this Friday.
I love that man.
Yeah, you sentenced him to
You're welcome.
casting. At least you kept him in the region, I guess.
Yeah, I did that for you, man.
All right.
Damn, what Whippo was on Immortals. Anyway, no.
Oh God. Let us move on. No point in constantly shitting on the past. Let's look to the future. Let's look to some talent. Let's look to evil geniuses. In the top lane, you have the only Hall of Fame player in the LCS you have someday. In the jungle, you have the only player to not only win MVP in Europe, but also LCS inspired. In the fucking mid lane, you have the man who talks his shit, Jojo Pinion. At ADC, you have FBI open up. And at support, you've got ratio difference Vulcan. 3 of the 5 returning members from their last split roster. What do you feel about this roster?
Damn, these are some good players, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they were so good. Gimli ran up on top of the desk to say hello.
I saw that. So, I mean, let's go through it one by one. So, one of the biggest changes, and it might not even be a big change, is in the top lane, where you're going from a top 2 top laner of all time to a top 2 top laner of all time. It's going to be interesting seeing someday outside of the 100 Thieves ecosystem. And Impact had a phenomenal presence on Evil Geniuses last year. So I am curious from a top lane perspective how someday will transition into that role. And then of course you have your Zillennial Zoomer goats inspired in JoJo holding it down. I am very curious how JoJo continues to grow. We have seen the meteoric rise of this kid go from Fortnite to perennial potential MVP candidate and de facto MVP in shit talking. Of course, your last returning player, Vulcan, mi amore. Vulcan will always hold it down as support. He'll go down as one of the best supports, if not the best. But then he has a little bit of a change up, and if there's anything Vulcan is used to in his bottom lane in Evil Genius is some change up. Now we're bringing in FBI. As we alluded to earlier with Huhi, now that those two are separated, we're going to get a real good idea of FBI and Huhi as individual players. I am of the mindset that FBI is a good player with even better sunglass attire. Pairing him up with Vulcan is honestly, outside of a core JJ, God forbid, is probably his best option for him when it was all said and done, when he was switched off from 100 Thieves. How those two, FBI and Vulcan, mesh and meld together will be paramount for this team as they return back to title contention.
And I 100% agree with you in that acclaim. I think the biggest worry for me when it comes to the EG roster is the implementation of their two new players. Play wise, I think someday will still be someday. The only issue, I he is now at Evil Geniuses. Someday has been in the 100 Thieves ecosystem for so long now. It's hard for me to imagine him being in a different ecosystem. Like, there's no way there's no way you can look at this and say that the things will be the same for someday in EG that they were at 100 Thieves. Like, he no longer has that tenure that he had at 100 Thieves, and now he has to like basically get comfortable with like a whole new roster. Yeah, he's bringing over FBI along with him, so there's kind of some of that like kindership there, but it's still not the same as like being in that 100 Thieves environment, having Nate shot like always just randomly hitting you up and like, yo, you want to go get food, get some sneaks, how you doing, that checkup, like it's not the same environment. And this is not to say that the Evil Geniuses environment is bad. Nicole, I'm not coming at your org. Please don't tweet at me. I think you run a great org here. I'm just saying, I think it'll take someday some time to get used to it, as it would for any player who is coming to a new team, but especially a player who's been on an organization for so long as Someday has. Now, an even bigger kind of like, I don't want to say red flag, but alarming factor for me is FBI. I am not yet 100% sold that FBI is going to be a top 3 ADC this split. And this is mainly due to his champion pool. I think FBI tends to lean towards a smaller set of champions than other ADCs in the league. And especially looking at all of the ADCs who are coming into the league right now, I think majority of them have a very vast and diverse champ pool, and I think that is where FBI can be taken advantage of, and that's in the draft. I think when it comes down to the game, the man's gonna click his buttons, he's gonna right click perfectly. But if he can't play certain champions, uh that's gonna hurt EG's drafting. Also, with FBI coming in, it's kind of a different style than what they were once doing with Danny. When Danny was here, it was the hey, we just survive early to mid game. Danny's got us late game. Does not matter if Danny's out there 1v4. Danny's got us late game. Do I believe FBI can do that? Oh yeah, but I don't think that's what EG will be looking to draft towards anymore. I think the EG will be looking to widen their type of play style, and we've seen many teams when they attempt to do this drop some games that they should have won, and I think that's where we're gonna see kind of EG falter. Now, me saying this, they not a soup team. Not at all. Um, Before I give my ranking for this team, do you have any follow up comments for EG?
I would just like to remind us that this team did go 15-3 in summer, right? They had a good showing at Worlds after they got the boogeyman that was G2 off their backs.
Oh yeah.
I believe in them. I believe in them.
And you know,
Do I believe them in S tier though?
I'm gonna have to say that they're gonna live evil, but they're gonna live evil with an A plus.
An A plus. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna put them above Team Liquid. And actually, I'm going to make a correction from earlier that I didn't do. I will put Cloud9
Yeah, okay,
over
all right.
FlyQuest in
There we
that
go.
sense regards. If I'm gonna correct the TL one, I will correct the FlyQuest one. Uh, I think EG definitely can be. I think their ceiling is an S team, but I think we need to see how well does Someday now mesh into the EG environment. Will did Worlds show JoJo new things? Will JoJo come out and be better than he was before? And can FBI increase his champ pool? I think if those things kind of mesh together, I think this team can be S without a doubt. But for now, I think they're a safe A team. What do you think?
I have them at low S tier.
Low S tier? Okay.
I have because I think they're contenders through and through. I am super excited you brought it up. The JoJo returning from Worlds. When he returned from MSI, this man was a sponge of information and broadening his champ pool. He has only been playing this game for a couple years now. This kid is still learning. I I believe in him so much. This is why my like floor would be like the A plus, but I believe that they are, given that they are coming off a phenomenal performance last year, currently like an S, like a low S. But I can definitely see an A plus.
And
Definitely above TL.
and like I will say, like the S and A tier teams here right here are like my like. All right, you guys are in the semis. You guys are in the finals. Like any one of these teams definitely has an edge of winning the whole thing. I just think they need some pieces to click before I can like bona fide say that they got that down pack and for sure. And now
And that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in.
we have to come to the team that has stolen the legacy, stolen some people's hearts. This team said, "We'll take your boomers, we'll take your zoomers, and we'll shove them together, and we'll make LCS team." We have 100 Thieves in the top lane. The man who's thirst trapping his way to a title, Tenacity. In the jungle, the man who's gonna kick your champion straight through his heart. Closer. The beard was weird, but he's so damn good in a suit. Bjergsen! The GOAT, the one, the only, the champion above all champions, Double Lift.
Sense some bias again.
And the meme god, I'm putting this on TikTok. Boosie, oh, big Boosie. Dude,
God, these kids with these goddamn awful names. I can't fucking. Why is it always the support?
dude, supports are weird, man. They're
So
all
fucking
weird.
weird.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Supports are weird. They're emotionally damaged and
Big true, big true.
they show it through their names. Dude, this is an interesting roster. I could not tell you that when we got to basically finals at Worlds that 100 Thieves was gonna be rocking this roster. Uh, I expected some changes for sure. Um, whew, I did not expect this. I will be truthful with you. These were some exciting changes. For me, I don't know if it shows, but I'm a Double F fanboy, so getting to
What?
see
No.
him play
What?
once again made this like amazing. Um I've got I'm not gonna lie, I will be getting me a 100 Thieves Double F jersey. It the only jersey I don't have for a team that Double F played on is CLG, and I ain't going that far back. Maybe if I find it at like some,
Goodwill.
yeah, Goodwill. uh, this roster's interesting, man. I thought it was super interesting that Double If requested to play with Busio. Uh, that could have, like, 100 Thieves could have went with any of the veteran supports that was like a talk that we talked about today, but like Double's main focus was playing with a zoomer who had zoomer hands and would have a zoomer brain when it came to looking at the game. And I thought that like kind of showed a lot of growth from Doublelift, who we've known in the past has only wanted to play with like big time stars in the support. So, and I don't know about all of you, but I've been watching Closer and Bjergsen play duels together. And not only has that shit been funny as hell, they have been stomping people. Like, who'd have thought that Closer and Bjergsen's like play styles would just mesh so well together? I'm
Is
gonna
he one? Yeah,
oh
he's one of
no,
the
I was
best
gonna say
junglers of all time, and the best mid laner of all time.
it,
They're gonna smash.
what do you like when you look at this roster? What was your initial reaction?
Um, damn, some kids got stuck at the retirement home again. Or flip it, what's Grandpa doing at pre-K? So this is what I see, right? Tenacity in the top lane has been hyped up. Honestly, he's probably one of, if not the most hyped up NA grown prospect that's been articulating in the academy scene for 2 years now. And now that we finally get to see him unleashed, who needs a 6-man roster? We just need a 5-man roster. We now get to see Tenacity fully unleashed in the LCS. And with that comes a lot of expectations for him, given that he is probably unfairly been anointed as like a messiah of sort. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes up against the likes of Summit, the likes of Fudge, the likes of Impact someday. It's a bit of a change going from Academy Salt to the Pro Leagues. I do believe he has the talent to do so, or at the very least outlive them so that he becomes the new man. Closer, I could go on and on about this man. Outside Blabber, is one of my favorite junglers. He is the definition of the point guard of a team. He sets up all of the assists. He sets up everything. He can do your knockups. He can do your pillars. He can be the Viego if he needs to. He can do it all. Will he get kills in the vein of other junglers? No, he's not like a speak of bloodthirsty motherfucker. He lets his team win around him. And that's what I've always appreciated about Closer. I Enough words have been said about Bjergsen and Double Lift. They're pretty cool. I don't know, man. Double Lift. Oh man, hasn't been in the league in a while. Is there gonna be rust? I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be fine. I do personally. Don't yell at me. Despite the amount of scrimming, despite the amount of streaming, I do feel like there'll be some level of rust that will need to be shaken off. There'll be some level of establishing communication between the Zoomers and the Boomers. I'm glad that Double Lift got to finally have a hand-picked support. It's been a while, and it's going to be interesting to see how Busio lives up to those lofty expectations. Like it's Tenacity at least is by himself, right? If he doesn't live up to the expectations, oh well, solo lane top die, lol. If you don't live up to expectations while double lift is your ADC, there's gonna be some. It's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of dialogue, and dialogue ends up in people's heads.
Oh yeah, it's career threatening. But I like that you brought up that you think there's going to be a lot of rust with Doublelift, because Doublelift himself spoke out on this and said, "Hey, I definitely do not think I'm going to be the best AD carry coming in to the split immediately. I think it's going to take me some time, and I'm willing to grow and learn with Busio." So I think Doublelift himself understands that he's not going to be the best um, coming out of the gate, and am excited to see if he can return. Because if Doublelift can return to the level that he's known for, then oh yeah, this is going to be a deadly bot lane. I think if Doublelift and Busio sync up with Doublelift playing his best, I think this is, if not the best bot lane, a top two best lane bot lane for sure. That being said, I don't think none of that's happening in Spring Split at all. I just gonna shock you here. I don't think they're gonna be good in spring.
See, but wait, if I had said it,
Then my entire narrative changes. I flip the whole script. And so
one last thought on my end. This is the concept or the phrase I've been thinking about this 100 Thieves roster since it was finalized. This is going to be feast or famine. Feast, you got two of the best players of the league on the same roster once again. You have two of some of the most promising up and comers that we've seen since the evil geniuses of last year. You have one of the most consistent junglers. There's your feast. This team, and I was really banking on it would probably be more on the summer than the spring, is going to sweep through. Or famine. It doesn't work out. There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of noise coming from the community. Reddit is on fire. Your show and stream is on fire. Feast or famine, 100 Thieves, which is hilarious to think about. This the same org that had the same roster for damn near 3 years.
oh yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they try to keep that going with this roster. Seeing Doublelift playing in his 30s might be quite
Oh my
the meme. But to wrap this up, I'm gonna give you my ranking for spring. 100 Thieves. I want to make this clear. This is spring 100 Thieves. And I think they are going to be our top B team.
No. No,
Yes.
come on. Come on. He's
I've
doing
watched-
the me thing. He's doing the Cloud9 thing. Oh, we're gonna lose. We suck. Go ahead and wins it all. I don't know, man. We gotta see next play. Oh my god, he's the turntables. I want to speak to the audience. This man is clearly delusional. This team, with all the names on it and the talent, still is going to be well above that soup. Dignitas is that soup. They might not be ahead of TL yet, but just to see them right next to the likes of Pawn and Ignar is disgusting.
I understand. I will get a lot of flack, a lot of hate from the community for this ranking, but let's take into consideration 2 new rookies, 2 boomers, and Closer has to wrap all of that together. It is not going to be an easy feat. And Doublelift, stop playing Jhin. It's not good.
LOL.
I do hope that this roster does really well. I don't think that they will necessarily be. I think they'll be the toppings on the soup. Like I think they can generally be the fifth place team.
Are they the
Uh,
shredded carrot? Like, what is this metaphor, Mark?
Look, the soup is made up of a lot of different melding parts, and you need a good topping to bring the soup together. And sometimes that's a nice sauce, sometimes that's shredded carrots, sometimes that's a few boomers from the retirement home. I think that 100 Thieves is a B plus team. Hey, B plus plus. We'll throw an extra plus in there.
Oh
If
my lord.
Now here, I will go on the record. If they come out and look like an unstoppable team this week, I'll make a video about them and say I was wrong, that they were an A team all along. But if they come out and they look rusty, they look shaky, and they don't look like they have like a clear way of how they want to play the game, you all owe me an apology. I don't know how to get it, but you all, the entire internet.
I'm not apologizing.
Well, there you have it, ladies, gentlemen, and all others. This was our 2023 spring LCS power rankings. To go over that one more time, our S tier teams are Cloud9, FlyQuest. Our A tier teams are Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, and for Hellborne, apparently 100 Thieves. B tier, 100 Thieves, Dignitas. C tier, CLG, Golden Guardians. D tier, TSM, and in F, Immortals. I almost forgot their name. That's how bad they are.
They were already relegated out.
If only, if only. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Hellborne, for coming in, giving your opinion, talking about the teams. Do you have any socials you want to shout out?
I just want to shout out one thing. Double lift, when you inevitably watch this video for food to fester over, just remember who was defending you. Love you, bro. Peace. Peter, mwah. Hellborn out.
Peter, we
Catch
have
me at your
pictures
mama's
together.
house.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and others, thank you for tuning in. This has been a great show, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.